what KFC's original name was. It actually used to be Kentucky Fried Cheerios, but then they decided to go into the chicken business instead. Hey guys, I'm about to TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we're back once again taking a look at another one of these Pixelart room videos that I did a while ago. You guys seem to really enjoy these. The first one, I mean. So what we're doing today is a nice little laundry room, and I basically just took the base of the first video and kind of just, removed all the furniture and just, used that, the rooms and the walls and the floor and whatnot. So I start off here with the washer and the dryer, which I think it looks really cool. I could have just made one and then duplicated it over, but I like making things hard for myself, so I didn't do that. But the thing that I want to talk about and focus on in this video is kind of doing less. So for a lot of this, I kind of try to make things overly complicated. Like I try to do a little circle here, and I don't really like any of that. So then I just make a square on the top of this. And everything is kind of really angled off. I feel like the style for these pixel art videos, these rooms that I do, they're really angular, or really like, yeah, nothing's really circular or round. It's kind of all really liney edges, which I think I really like the way that looks a lot. But what I want to focus on is everything looks pretty consistent. So I want to focus on consistency in this. So essentially, what I mean by that is when you look at all of these lines, it kind of feels like you're looking at, like I said before, it looks like you're looking at angles, essentially. So it kind of feels like, at least to me, it feels like I took a ruler and kind of just drew all of this stuff because it's all very angular, which is, like I said, the style that I'm going for. But you can see here, even when I make different shapes here, when I do some paintings and a shelf and a window and whatever else, no matter what shape I'm doing, it still has the same kind of feel to it, the same kind of style to it. And that's because I'm keeping the same width for things. I'm keeping the same width for a lot of different objects. I'm keeping a consistent a consistent angle style, which is the angle that I'm using, obviously. But the most important thing that I think here that's kind of bringing all this together as a cohesive thing is the color. So if you take a look at the color, nothing's really has different brightness. So all of it's kind of the same amount of bright. Or let me rephrase, it's the same amount of contrast, I suppose. So even the darker colors, everything's kind of soft. And these bright yellow colors and all this like lighter white colors and even the browns and everything, they're all kind of the same value. Nothing is like too bright and nothing's really dark. So nothing stands out is essentially what I'm saying. So when you look at this, there's not something that your eye necessarily goes to first, which I think is really cool. So different people will notice different things first. So for me, in this specific painting, or this specific piece, I think my eye kind of goes to the rug first that I put down later, because it's just like, I don't know, something about the rug just looks cool to me. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I really want to stress all these angular lines really come into play. Here's the rug right here. And the biggest thing that I really wanted to talk about was not necessarily the lines or not necessarily the color, but especially when I do the shelf here, you'll see I kind of have to fit a lot of things in a tiny space. So a lot of parts of doing pixel art is kind of figuring out how to make lines lay the way you really want them to. So you see I make some poles here, and these poles kind of start getting a little hectic because I don't like the way that they're laying onto these little shelf pieces. So I kind of go back to the drawing board a couple of times and change the length of them and fiddle around with just tiny things. Nothing too crazy, nothing really big, but up at the top here, I changed the height around a couple of times so I can get these exactly the way that I want it to be. So I got on really low, short there, then I kind of pull it up a bit, and then I pull it back up in a bit as well. I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that I know a lot of the times when you're doing art, especially pixel art, because man, like I said, fitting things in this tiny area sometimes can be a pain. But a lot of times, a lot of people I know get kind of scared to change things, especially in the middle of doing something, or even after you think you've maybe finished it. You take a step back from it, after you move on to a different part of the room or move on to the towels. Like I move on to these towels here, these pieces on the shelf, and then I look at the legs again on the table, on the shelf, and I was like, I don't think it looks tall enough. So I go back and I kind of raise them up. So don't feel like you can't go back and change something, because especially in pixel art, that really will help you out. Because like I said, when I'm moving things around and when I'm putting towels in and I'm putting this in and I'm putting that in or whatever else, it's going to help you out a lot to be able to look at it from a different way now that you've added things around it. And the last thing I want to talk about is really, really important. The only way that I was able to do this the way that I was able to, and like the way that it should be done, is I use layers for this. So if you look down in Sprite, at least in other Pixelart programs, it has the same thing. But if you look down in Sprite, you can see that I'm using multiple layers. So the room is on one layer, and then everything else is on a different layer. So the washing machines and dryers are on one layer, and the shelf is on a layer by itself. All of the stuff on the wall is on a different layer, and so is the rug. So it just makes it really easy to move things around, and it makes things really, really easy to change them around later on when you need to and when you want to. But I absolutely love doing these pixel art videos. You see I'm doing a little bit of shadow here as well. I absolutely love doing these videos. So if you want to see more of this, definitely let me know down below. We can do as many rooms as is possible. We can do any piece like this in a pixel art kind of format. So I hope, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed today's tutorial. I will see you in the next one. But until then, bye-bye.